I'm not going to waste any time here. We're going straight out to the River Islands guest line because my childhood idol's on the line.
Really?
Yeah, I've told him this when he comes on. I haven't had the chance to interview him many, many times, but I've told Will this but plenty of times before.
Yeah.
Number 22 as a kid, thought I did a pretty good Nuschler impression. Some people will know what that is. If you don't know, now you know.
Now you know.
That's the nickname for the look on his face. And took it to actually an embarrassing degree that when I would get over to second base, I would start trying to mimic exactly what he would do when he would get to a base. And my friends in high school were like, dude, that's weird. But whatever, he's with us now as we do our Giants season preview. Hey, Will, what's going on? Thanks so much for your time.
Gentlemen, how are y'all today?
We are doing
better now,
pretty
Will.
well. Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good having you on, man. And hope springs eternal. So it's that time of year. This is the question we've been asking our listeners. We'll ask it to you. What would you say is a successful year for the Giants this year?
You know what? I'm looking at the playoffs. The reason being because, everybody's talking about the Dodgers and how much money they spend, all that sort of stuff. But, the way the Giants have situated themselves, especially since Buster Posey took over, it's pretty amazing. I mean, you look at our pitching staff: Logan Webb, Robbie Ray, Justin Verlander, Jordan Hicks, and then Kyle Harrison. And then waiting in the wings is some of the younger guys: Landon Root, Hayden Birdsong, Tristan Beck, just to name a few. And, for me personally, if our pitching staff comes through, we should make the playoffs, and that should be our goal.
And when you look at the ballpark, Will, and considering the dimensions and, the division and everything else that the Dodgers have and that San Diego has, is that the best way to go about it with pitching and defense?
Definitely. That's what wins baseball games, believe it or not, is pitching and defense. Offense is going to come and go. Offense is going to struggle sometimes. But you should have the upper hand as far as pitching goes, and you should definitely be able to catch the ball. And, so if the San Francisco Giants do that this year, I envision some good things happening for the organization.
Well, you've certainly had some things to say about where this team was, the state of affairs under the past regime. Buster now takes over. For most of us, we haven't seen exactly what that means yet, but I bet you have a good idea of conceptually how that's going to change things behind the scenes. So what's your take? How's it going to be different?
My take on that is, Buster knows the history of the Giants, and he is definitely trying to bring that back without a shadow of a doubt. And so for me personally, when you walk in that clubhouse and, you see the Willie Mays pictures and the Gaylord Perrys and the Juan Marichals and all that, bringing back the history of the San Francisco Giants is really important. Buster embraces that. And I know Bob Melvin, being a former Giant as well, is embracing it. So, for me personally, the Giants fans expect to win. This organization has been turned around since the mid-'80s and has been a force in the NL West, and I see it happening again this year. So I'm actually really looking forward to the Giants playing the kind of baseball that I know they can.
And how much does that matter to you? And I'm thinking about you as a young player back in the 80s when you came to the Giants and you had, Willie McCovey around and, of course, Willie Mays still here and the Cha-Cha, Orlando Cepeda. When you're a younger player, how much does that legacy matter to you when you're trying to uphold the standard?
You're exactly correct. When you are a younger player, you knew who came before you, and you knew that the San Francisco Giants were based on a winning baseball team. And so for me personally, that was a big deal when I came on board in the mid-'80s. And, where we have been here in the last few years is not what the San Francisco faithful is used to. And so I want to get back to winning baseball. And, I think we've taken some big-time steps in the right direction. You look at Willie Adames on the left side of the infield with Matt Chapman, and I see a lot of potential of those two cornerstones of the team.
Will Clark with us here on Willard and Dibbs, 95.7 The Game. Well, I was just talking a little bit earlier about this whole idea of looking at the season before it starts and fans going, man, they got no chance against the Dodgers. Like, this thing's gotten kind of out of hand, and fans talking about how there's no player that they want to buy a jersey for their kids for. Like, does the fan base have a confidence problem right now in your mind?
You know what? I don't know whether it's a confidence problem, but, they haven't seen exactly what we would call, your typical Giants baseball the last few years. And, so whether it's a confidence problem or whether it's a problem, just, hey, look, we need to get back to winning baseball. For me personally, that's what I'm envisioning for, this spring training is, Bob Melvin's got a bunch of choices he's got to make. He's got some bench requirements. Tyler Fitzgerald's going to be moving from shortstop to second base. And so he's got a lot of stuff that he needs to look at in order to figure out, what kind of product the San Francisco Giants going to put out on the field.
You were a first baseman, and I'm looking at your fielding log, and I think you only ever played first base. You didn't even do like a little stint at third or a little bit of DH, or you didn't pop out into right field. So you look at Bryce Eldridge as a first baseman, who is going to be the next big thing. For you as a legacy first baseman, maybe the second best in Giants history behind Willie Mack, how do you go about helping him without putting too much pressure on him?
First off, as far as, me not being able to go around the infield, it's a little tough when you're a left-handed first baseman. So, that was a little tough.
You play a little third? Come on, Will.
No, I didn't play no third. You gotta be kidding me. But, as far as Bryce Eldridge goes, and I've told a lot of people this, without a shadow of doubt, he is going to be a major leaguer. You can write that on the wall. Bryce Eldridge right now has only got less than a year up under his belt playing first base. And so, that's the thing that Bryce Eldridge is going to do right now is get a little bit more seasoning at first base and being able to move around, the diamond, know where he's going, know when he catches the ball, what base to look up to next, et cetera, et cetera. And so, I'm actually really looking forward to seeing Bryce Eldridge and what he does this year. But he is going to hit, that's first off, and he is going to be a major leaguer at second off.
Will, has the organization gotten you with him yet? Like, are you working directly with him?
Yes, I have been. I saw Bryce twice last year. I saw him in Richmond, and I also saw him take that back. I saw him 3 times. I saw him in Richmond. I saw him in Eugene, and then also and San Jose, and then I saw him in the fall league. So I saw Bryce quite a bit last year, and so my recommendations on Bryce are pretty well founded. And like I said, he will be a major leaguer. That's without a shadow of a doubt. And I want to see him just get a little bit better at playing the corner position.
Can you speak to the specifics that you see as to why you are so confident to say he will be a big leaguer?
Well, he's 19 years old. And, how many 19-year-olds coming out of high school, are fed a consistent, diet of 95, 96 mile-an-hour fastballs and able to turn them around on a regular basis. And that's kind of what Bryce is doing. And, he's making it look pretty easy. I mean, he hit at 3 different levels last year. Plus, like I said, he went to the fall league and did real well in the fall league. And, I'm really, really confident in, my assessment as to him being a major leaguer.
Is it easier now for a 19-year-old to come up and make a fast move? Because I'm looking at your own career, Will, and you were drafted at 18 and you went to Mississippi State and you played there and you did well. And then at 22, you made your splash. Is junior baseball and AAU now and all the rest of it make it easier for a 19-year-old to make more of a fast track?
There's a lot of different leagues you can play in now. And so, I think that, some of the younger kids now are getting way more advanced. But you also have to be taught the game. And, Bryce is a perfect example. He never played first base. And then now all of a sudden, he's trying to make his mark in pro ball as a first baseman and as a hitter. And one of the things that we talk about is when you are a hitter, you're going to have 0 for 4s, 0 for 5s, 0 for 3s, whatever. But you cannot have consistent failure on the defensive side of things. You have got to be able to play defense and stop the other team. And so, Bryce this year is going to get more seasoning at first base. And, if he keeps hitting, like I said, he will be a major leaguer.
Will Clark with us, Willard and Dibbs. Will, just recently, maybe even this morning, Rob Manfred was saying his biggest concern is competitive balance, but then he's repeatedly pointed out that the Dodgers have not broken any rules. All true, but what should be done? What, if anything, what's your take on the way the Dodgers have played this and the fact that nobody else seems to be doing the same?
Well, I look at the Dodgers right now, and it's almost like the George Steinbrenner era of the Yankees. He went out and did the same thing. He went out and spent the money and put on the field the best team money could buy. And, that's kind of what the Dodgers are doing. But, one of the beauties of Major League Baseball is you have to play a 162-game schedule. And there's a lot of things that can go right, and there's a lot of things that can go wrong when you start playing that many games. And so, for me personally, they're not doing anything out of the ordinary that hasn't been done in baseball before. And you still have to go out and play 162 games and win a division to get in the playoffs. And so that's what I'm talking about with the San Francisco Giants too, is, getting into the playoffs should be our goal, because we have not done that here in the last few years. And, I'm looking forward to what 2025 brings for the San Francisco Giants.
And when you look at this team going forward, it's only February, I know, but what makes you most excited about their chance to, over 162, last and thrive and be a team that can get into the playoffs and maybe make some noise?
Yeah, no, from looking at where we were last year, we were not that far out of playoff contention and stuff like that. And, we got one or two little setbacks during the middle part of the season that wound up putting us on the slide instead of, on the rise. And so for me personally, if we can get to that middle part of the season and be set up, real nice and be in position, baseball is about how you finish. It's not how you start. It's how you finish. And I think that the San Francisco Giants can do that.
Hey, Will, who would you like to see be the starting right fielder this year?
You know what? Mike Yastrzemski did a great job last year. He wound up, being a Gold Glove candidate. And so, I think that he's got the leading edge, but we also have, other outfielders coming up. Elliot Ramos, had a great year last year. Jung-Hoo Lee got hurt early in the season, and so I'm looking forward to seeing Jung-Hoo come out and have a full season as a San Francisco Giant. And yeah, other than that, we're gonna have a lot of people contribute to the Giants. We're gonna have a pretty solid lineup. And we may make a little shift here and there, but for the most part, we should be able to run out the same guys day in, day out.
I'm just looking at your numbers, Will, and I'm looking at a career hitting average of 303. And I'm thinking now, if you hit 303 this year, you might win the batting title. When you look at modern day baseball and thinking about your career, you had some thump for sure, but you also knew the value of the base hit. When you look at the modern day baseball game, do you kind of pine for the old days where a base hit actually was important?
I definitely pine for the old days. One of the things that I looked at last year was it took us till, middle of September, right around there, for somebody to hit the first 3-run homer of the San Francisco Giants in 2024. And so I, on the flip side of things, look at, some of my old hitting tapes, and it's, 2-run homer, 3-run homer, 3-run homer, 2-run homer. And so, I pine for the older days. I pine for guys who battle every at-bat and grind every at-bat instead of just saying, oh, hell with it, and I strike out, and I'm just going to go sit on the bench. That ought to be the last thing you do is strike out. I mean, you ought to just battle tooth and nail to, try to get a base hit, try to put a ball in play. When you start striking out as many times as is happening now, you don't put any pressure on the defense because you got a lot of guys walking back to the dugout because of the strikeouts. So, we need to find a way to put, pressure on the opposition, and that is putting the ball in play.
Will Clark with us here on Willard and Dibs. Will, as I said off the top, I grew up trying to mimic you on the baseball field. I'd like to know who you think did the best Will Clark impression during your career, so that maybe I can try to take a shot at him.
That's a good one right there. I know that Kruger and those guys were messing with me about the Nuschler. You even said it in the little the pre-segment there. But the guys would always screw with you in the dugout, and it's part of it. I loved it. It's part of being a baseball player, and the guys in the clubhouse laughed and giggled, cut up, but at the same time, when it was time to go to work, they went to work, and those are the kind of guys I love playing with on an everyday basis. I'm
sure you've told the story, but for our listeners who don't know what the Nuschler thing is, your middle name, like where does that come from? How was that decided as your name?
It's a family name thing. Down south, a lot of people use, family members' names, and Nuschler was my grandmother's maiden name, and so that's how that came into being. Me personally, I didn't mind it. I thought it was pretty cool. You want to know the truth? Having nicknames, because everybody in baseball has nicknames.
Like Will the Thrill.
Right.
Yes, they do.
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, as cool as Nuschler is, and 284 career home runs is also cool. You know that you have the most home runs you ever hit was against Nolan Ryan.
Yes, I do know that. I'm the career leader in homers off of Nolan Ryan. He doesn't like me too much.
That's pretty awesome.
Including the second pitch that anyone ever threw you in the bigs.
Yep.
Yeah. That was one of the good ones right there.
That's one of the good ones.
I love it.
Yeah, you want
to write a script as to how to start your major league career. Usually, when you hear, well, he took Nolan Ryan deep on the third pitch he ever saw as a pro. That's usually a good way to start.
Will you share real quick with the audience what you said? It was Jeff Leonard who was on deck, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, and what was that kind of, because wasn't he, if I remember correctly, he's kind of razzing you a little bit, doing the rookie hazing thing, like you ain't nothing till you get your first home run, and then 2 pitches in, you've homered off Nolan Ryan, and then what'd you say to him as you walked back by?
No, he asked me what pitch it was. I said fastball away, and that was one of the things back then, rookies, and you can say whatever you want about hazing or whatever, but there was hazing back then. And you just had to suck it up as a rookie. And so, Hackman was one of my tormentors, but there were several others as well.
That's so good.
Will, great stuff, man. Thank you so much for coming on.
It is my pleasure, guys. And I hope you guys have a great day. And, stay with those San Francisco Giants. We're going to get this thing right.
No doubt, man. Yeah. Same to you, Will. Thanks so much.
Awesome.
All right, guys. Y'all have a great day.
All right, you too. There you go.
Will Clark.
Will Clark. That's the noosh right there.
Dude.
That's Will the Thrill.